Welcome to Natural 20 Proof, the show that exists because drinks are good, friends are better, and the dice gods own our souls. We are broadcasting live from the McMinnville Mead Hall up in McMinnville, Oregon, which is kind of in the North Willamette Valley area. If you're around here, feel free to stop by, grab some fermented honey beverages. We've got stuff from all over the world to show you. And another quick shout out as well to Sirenscape. We're using their online beta web player for this campaign. It's super rad. You can combine different sound samples, import your own sound sets, and create a mood to fit whatever kind of campaign vibe you are trying to transport your players to. So make sure to go check it out. It's really, really awesome. I also want to give you a quick reminder that it is voting season. So make sure that you are putting your voice out there, making it known who you support, what issues are important to you, and making sure this whole crazy thing called democracy is still rolling along. So however you may lean, whatever, not important, just make sure you are participating.
Yeah.
And one more quick thing on masks. We're currently not wearing masks because we are basically a socially distanced pod. So we spend a lot of time together as a group, but we don't spend a lot of time with other people without masks on. And anytime we're not basically in this social circle, we are masked up, ready to rumble. So be safe, be responsible, and be considerate. The masks are really here to make sure that everybody around you is safe, including helping yourself. But if everybody's wearing a mask, then everybody's being kept safe. So do your part, put that thing on. I know it's uncomfortable, but the sooner we all keep them on, the sooner we can all be on the other end of this crazy year. So, without further ado, did I forget anything there? Oh, make sure to hit subscribe on Twitch, BT Dubs, and hit subscribe on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. We are also going to be putting out our first podcast episode, I believe this coming Thursday? Friday. So make sure to check that out. We've got a few little cool voiceovers we've been doing, and you can pop us in while you're on your commute to work or what have you, and you can keep up with our adventures that way.
Technically, the button says follow on Twitch.
Well, that's just awkward.
We want them to subscribe.
Oh, or subscribe.
Yeah. First one, then the other. Why not?
There you go.
Hit both buttons.
It's
a great time. Who doesn't want to hit buttons, really?
I do love buttons.
I do miss analog buttons. Touchscreens just don't have the same appeal. Anyway,
that little patronizing click sound, it's just not the same.
It's insulting you.
Like, I know it's a flat screen. You're not fooling anyone.
It's true. A little simulating.
Do you think I'm a fool?
All right. Anything I may have missed?
I think that's it.
That's
Okay, cool. In that case, we are going to roll on into our intro sequence. So, I'm going to bring up a little bit of music here.
Bring up a lot of music.
Last time on Natural 20 Proof, our party of adventurers made their way to the town of Quain on the far western side of Anor, where the water elemental plane of Moon collides with the other aspects of the other elemental planes to create the landmass known as Anor. You are out on the very forefront of this, where stormy winds are constantly lashing away at this hardy village. Its people eke out a living off of what they can glean from the ocean, as well as what the traveling Savoyans can bring in from all along the coast of Anor. While here, you encountered a traveling Savoyan named Cadius LaRue, who has trade relationships with the Yuan-Ti. His crew was beginning to disappear, turning up murdered several days later, and he was convinced it was due to some kind of curse or some kind of vendetta conducted by the deep fish folk known as the Loth. He hired all of you to attempt to stop this attack on his crew and to make them safe, and you went down and staked out at the docks, where you ended up being attacked by some giant octopi, which turns out were some very menacing forces in the deep bay outside of Quain. However, you did not see any Loth, and upon further investigation it was found that his first mate, Fiora, was actually the one responsible for these attacks. She had gotten a better offer from one of the other crews from the other individual that had trade relations with the Yuan-Ti, and she was trying to make good on a nice sweet deal before cutting and running. So you brought her to justice, and in so doing met Larian Rosewell, who is one of the sons of the Rosewell family line, who are the group of Urim Knights responsible for Quain. You were invited back to the Rosewell Manor, where you had a decadent breakfast with Larian, and also met his sister Saphira, who is a little bit more withdrawn. However, most of you pretty well immediately decided that Saphira was the one you really wanted to talk to. So you, especially between Edlin and Helry, you had a couple of interactions with Saphira that we're going to be rolling on into for this session. So, first and foremost, of course, is going to be Edlin's meeting with her. You continue your breakfast for some time at the long table in the Rosewell's feasting hall. And I do want to ask if there's anything anybody wants to do before we get to the conversation between Edlin and Saphira.
Yeah, I'm gonna duck out of breakfast as quick as I can.
Okay.
Oh, no, I'm not. Hey, Larian, you happen to have any decorative pieces around from which I might be able to get myself an eagle's feather?
An eagle's feather? Well, eagles aren't exactly uncommon on the coast here. I probably have a tapestry somewhere that's got a few woven in. Wouldn't want to break one of those, though.
Sure.
I tell you what, the general store or the alchemy shop generally has access to eagle feathers. Otherwise, I can have someone run down to the armory and see if we can pull one off of the scruff around a few of our plate mail pieces.
If you wouldn't mind, and otherwise I can go check the stores. That'd be wonderful.
You've done more than enough.
Ah.
All right, he kind of snaps and a servant approaches. He mumbles to him and servant runs off. All right. Anything else while you're at the feast here? You're all starting to feel pretty darn full at this point. This is a heck of a spread in front of you.
It's time for third lunch. Here we go.
Finally, some good food.
Here's the lamb sauce.
Isn't this the same food you've been eating for like the last 2 hours?
Yes, but it keeps showing up.
All right,
It's a shame to let it all go to waste.
on a one waste or another.
You can see the
Well said.
You make a fair point.
you can see the servants that keep reappearing with new platters of food are starting to get very tired. How much longer can they go?
I'm getting slightly tired. I think I'll head back to the inn,
Okay, you head out. You head on out. All right,
but not back to the inn.
I gotcha. Kaz.
Well, I'm gonna hang around until everybody else leaves, but I'm pretty much full at this point.
Okay.
God, not more food.
It just keeps coming. Larian, by the way, is keeping pace with all of you. Well, the best among you. So he is, they're used to the amount he's eating. They're not used to having 3 Larians at the table. All right. 4, really.
Yep.
Anyway,
3 extra.
there you go. 3 extra Larians.
Yep.
So,
It's a unit.
Edwin, you head out of the inn. Immediately you feel the rain of Quain lashing upon your face here. It isn't exactly in full storm, but the wind is picking up immensely, and there is quite a lot of precipitation. Flip your hood up, and heading along the coast.
Head along the cliffs looking the ocean where I was told to meet someone.
Okay. You head in a southerly direction. Keep Rosewell, or the Rosewell Manor, is already on the sort of southwestern portion of town, so you really just kind of have to cut out and around. You find a gate nearby that you exit through, and you take a stroll along the coastline there. Eventually seeing a figure in the distance who has been sitting kind of in a dip in the landscape where you can't really see from too far away.
Okay.
You approach. She does not have a hood up. She's just kind of sitting there. She has a cloak pulled around her, but it seems to be just watching the ocean. Saphira is out here.
Okay. So I'm going to approach and drop my cloak and say, "My lady, it's good to see you again. I understand you have reservations about what your brother wants us to do, and I have some serious reservations myself. If you don't mind, I'd like to tell you a little story.
All right.
Evan will then proceed to recount Tierna, Frednik, everything that's happened, and say, I'm a member of the Queen's Court of the Feywild, and I am a noble in my own right, and I don't believe someone should be treating people like that. And seems to me to be rather concerned about his own well-being more than the Plains. He wants to make himself rich and famous and say the Plains is an afterthought. I think I don't have a problem with the ultimate goal of saving the Plain, since I'm stuck here too. But I really don't want to do it his way, so I really don't want to go after this pearl thing that he wants us to go get. So if you have something else or some other suggestion, like maybe we should go protect the pearl or fight off both sides or just stay away from both sides, I'd be perfectly happy with that. I just don't want to do your family a disservice after you've done us such a service.
There's a lot of information you just threw at her. Is there anything you were leaving out of that whole tirade?
I left out the part about the boat.
The part about the boat, as in the whole party on the boat?
About searching the boat and finding things.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
I did mention that Tierna apparently was responsible for the ambush Kaz and I had, and for sending us into harm's way to convince us of his purpose, and how I did not think it was right to be putting other people in danger without warning or let or leave, and to me it smacked of kidnapping a noble, which is a crime in and of itself.
Okay. Roll an insight check.
Not good. 9.
Her face is very still, and she isn't really letting a whole lot through. However, at the name on Tiarna, she kind of, her eyes seem to, her brow furrows a little bit. It was sort of an inscrutable expression there. Looks a little bit like confusion. And her eyes are locked onto you.
And I will go on to explain how he wants to be the new Danu, and when I called him on it on the boat, he was like, So I'm really not liking this person, and I'm really not wanting to do what this person wants us to do. So how would she like us? Would she like us to take her brother's offer? Would she like us to go down there and try and protect the Fathom Pearl? What would she like us to do? Because I want some other path other than the one Tiarna wants us to do. And she seems to be the most sensible person I've met so far.
She listens to what you have to say. She doesn't respond immediately. She kind of breathes for a moment, looks out over the ocean.
And I'm just going to sit down cross-legged and stare out at the ocean and wait. I'm an elf.
After a period of time, she speaks back up. That is very interesting information you have to share. I've never heard the name Tiarna before, and I find that frustrating. Frednik Summerwald, however, as my brother, so enthusiastically put it, is generally a sign of bad luck. And he shows up around catastrophes, whether those catastrophes have champions to rise up to defend those who are victimized by the incidents. Well, sometimes they're lucky, sometimes they're not. I would not trust Frednik Summerwald, and I would not trust those that he supposedly is employed by, which is the first I have heard of such a thing.
It seems to be the case, and I would trust neither of them as far as I can throw away octopus.
However, I have heard of the threat of the Fomorians that is always lurking on the horizons in Anor. We are not a united land, and I do not know what may happen if such a thing were to attack us.
It does appear to be coming.
Well, I will be doing what I can to learn more about this and rally Abenlock's forces as best I can. Of course, making those believe that we should look towards the horizons and look towards the deep elemental planes when the threats from Vesic and the threats from the mountains and the Feywild and occasionally even from Shadowfell are much more pressing and near at hand.
Does it matter why they mobilize as long as they're ready?
You are a noble. All right. In regards to the Fathom Pearl, this is a circumstance which is much more delicate than my brother tends to think it is. He believes it is simply a matter of taking the pearl from Vesic, defeating them on the plane of contest in this arena in the Claw Garden. I would see neither party be the one to claim the pearl. However, my brother did speak the truth in that our town, Quain, could certainly use the vessel to seize. And so, my ideal would be that the pearl simply disappears from under the clutches of both Vesic and Abenlock. That some stormy night, when neither party is making a move upon it, the pearl happens to be taken by a third faction, somebody out of the dark in the winds and the rains. And if that pearl were to end up in our hands, I would be very grateful, as would my family. But mostly I would not see the balance, the stalemate, be upset. As if one side gains a particular advantage, then that could precipitate violence. So.
And what of the defenders down there? You said there were, what your brother called the miscreants and outcasts?
The Portantir.
Perhaps they would have a better use for the pearl than either side.
The Portantir, from what I can gather, have no interest in anybody having the pearl. They would rather that the Sand Mother be left to its own devices to continue creating more Scuttlekin. They rely on the Scuttlekin for survival, and the destruction of a hive is a rather large blow to their way of life. In addition, they hold the Sand Mothers to be minor gods in their own right. And so the Portantir would not see the pearl be taken in any fashion. They would see both Vesic's forces and Abenlock's forces be denied it.
And can you think of anything other than the pearl disappearing that would cause Vesic and Abenlock to disengage?
Loss of resources. The Portantir are constantly harassing both parties, and they attack and disappear as quickly as they come. I hope that, given enough time, both Vesic and Abenlock will give up on the pearl, but I don't think that's particularly likely, to be perfectly honest. It's a very powerful artifact, and the kinds of items you could create with such a thing have the capacity to change the balance of power within Anor completely. The uses my family has for it are benign, but other Urim Knights and their clans have more violent prospects for it.
As I understand, the Vesic would merely take it and lock it away.
No.
No?
Vesic makes a practice of creating magical artifacts. Those artifacts they hoard. But simply keeping a Fathom Pearl would be...
They would actually use it first and then hide away whatever they created.
Precisely. We do not know exactly how much power Vesic has stored away within the Blind Vault in the form of magical items. But it can be assured that every new addition to their arsenal is a grave risk to Abinlock specifically. Perhaps even to Dernad, though Abinlock tends to disagree more fervently with their methods.
Well, thank you, my lady, for your time and your instruction. I will do my best to steer my companions into a rational course.
I would appreciate that. And as exchange for the information you've given, she reaches into her purse and pulls out a small pouch and hands it over to you. Consider it an investment. You seem to hear and see much, and I would be very curious to see what else you can find, if you would be so kind as to bring more word of such things to me.
Is there a way to get your messages discreetly?
Let me think on that, and I will try to establish something for you.
Then I will take the pouch.
All right. 50 gold pieces to you. Is there anything else?
No, but this is a lovely view. Would you mind if I sat here for a while?
I do not own the coast. By all means, enjoy.
And I'm just going to sit there staring out to sea for a while.
Okay. She gets up and vanishes back towards Quain. All right. At this point, the tables have been cleared away for the rest of you, and you're all kind of sitting back. The minstrel has come back out and is beginning to play a series of songs, all dedicated to Larian's exploits. A few here and there dedicated to Saphira, although you can't help but notice that Larian's songs are extremely specific in how awesome he is and all the amazing conquests and exploits he's had, and Saphira's are a lot more vague. They're kind of like, Saphira was there, and we think she was awesome. It was, but she doesn't appear to, her deeds aren't very well recorded at this point. And Larian, though, seems to be quite enjoying himself listening to all this. It's a jaunty melody going around. Is there anything anybody wants to do? Oh, there is some wine coming out, by the way. A little bit of post brunch wine. One in particular really catches your interest. It's a plum wine that Larian makes sure to let you know has been aged out in date barrels and then softened with calcium-rich bright waters of the southern Dormer range. Gives it a slight kind of, it's very strong. Definitely not the watered down stuff you may have had in other inns around. This is very rich, very deep, and this additive to it, the bright waters, has given it this sharp, almost sulfurous edge on the finish that gives it a very clean, kind of breathy quality.
I will tuck in.
All right.
He's delicious.
Very good.
I would like to use Druid Craft on it, if you'll let me flavor it this way. So instead of like a puff of wind, I just want to make it bubble, kind of like a little hot spring.
Oh yeah, totally.
I'm turning it into a mimosa.
All right.
It's going to be sparkling and fruity and delicious.
It's sort of an interesting process. You actually, as you're doing this, you consolidate wild yeasts in the air and kind of supercharge them. Dropping them in there, they start to immediately eat the residual sugars left inside it and create little... It bubbles and boils in front of you like a witch's cauldron.
Very nice.
It's an extra 4% stronger.
Do mine. Hell yeah.
It tickles, you know? Some of the bubbles go up your nose.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
You're a very lovely host, Larry.
Oh, speak nothing of it. It's just the Rosewell obligation. Especially for those who've done such a great service to my town.
I feel it's time for me to head out and do a little bit of research and study, some boring stuff.
Right,
But
well,
I appreciate your hospitality.
Are you sure there's more?
If I eat any more, I will die.
I suppose
I will
it's
take
probably...
sausage for a month.
well, if you're interested in research, you're more than welcome to use our libraries here. The least I can do for you, we have a modest selection, but certainly more than the average town library will have.
And it's inside your grounds here.
Yes, absolutely. You go out through that door down the hall on your right.
I might do that. Would someone care to...
I would love to do that. Yeah, absolutely.
I wouldn't mind as long. I mean, you got books with like pictures and stuff in it, right?
Oh, yes! I love those ones.
Then yeah, I'll go with it.
All right.
I appreciate it. We will make our way there.
Excellent.
Has my feather shown up?
Your feather, in the interim where Edlin was gone, yes, your feather did reappear. It looks to be a little bit draggled. It's not in perfectly immaculate form, but it is an eagle feather.
Good, yes. I will go to the library.
Okay, sounds good.
And I will keep an eye on the time until it's 3.
Starting to get to that point. So
Okay.
you're heading over to the library. Anybody else going to the library?
I'm not.
Okay.
Might as well.
Library?
All
Beautiful.
right, I guess I'll go to the library.
I wish to stay back and speak with Larry.
All right. Sounds good. Excuse me. The rest of you head on towards the library. Nobody. You are currently left in the Great Hall there. Penny, you also said you were going?
Yeah,
the
I'm
library?
gonna go
Okay,
to the
cool.
library.
You're a great host
Thank you.
and generous. The meal was excellent.
Of course. I'll make sure to pass your compliments along to the cooks.
For someone capable of such ostentatious presentation, I must ask, why have you not sought to take the treasures of the blind vault?
Well, that would mean war upon Vesic. As much as I have faith in the might of our Urim Knights, their blood guard are not to be underestimated. Vesic has accumulated quite a lot of power there, and in addition, we do depend on them for our trade route. If we were to upset the balance, we would be cut off completely from the eastern side of Anor, barring travel through the Dormer range, which obviously we don't want to do that.
Are you blind?
No.
Do you not see that by the simple act of hoarding these artifacts and controlling your trade routes, that the balance is already disturbed?
Well, I mean, naturally there's always been a little animosity towards Vesic for this, but it's really a matter of what can we do about it. They are quite strong, and if we were to if we were to attempt to breach the Blind Vault, that would mean all-out war between the two cities. I do not believe that the Sovereign wishes that.
And what if you do not breach the Blind Vault?
Excuse me, what are you implying exactly?
What that boat? What if... Yes. What if an independent group were to stage a robbery to restore the balance?
I would say that independent group must be suicidal. Perhaps I haven't really made it clear what the Blind Vault represents. It is the seat of the Runda's power, the sorceress organization that controls Vesic. They wield magics that nothing in Abendlock can come close to comparing to.
Yes, it is clearly larger than a boat, I understand.
Oh, I love you. I love you.
Meanwhile,
We're all
Cyrus.
gonna die, but I love you.
To answer your question, certainly if someone could break in and liberate some of those artifacts, then that would dramatically balance the powers of Anor. Especially if such artifacts were to end up in our hands.
The mere fact that they have concentrated such power, hoarded it over centuries, decades,
Millennia.
millennia. How many is that?
1,000 years.
Gods. The power concentrated there must be immense. There is no balance while Vesic stands.
Absolutely. And yet, they don't overrun the rest of us, and so clearly they haven't accumulated enough might yet.
Then there is only one hope. Maybe two. I'm not sure. Do their goals align with that of the Cala?
That, I do not know. Obviously, the Sovereign has the best interest of the Cala and all of its people at heart, as she carries the blood of Bridget in her veins and has a responsibility to bring all into that noble lineage. However, Vesic, they have their own goals, and best I can tell, they worship something in the bottom of the tear, and I don't know what they might think that thing wants to do. So, I don't know what their goals are, to be honest. But I'm certain it's nothing wholesome. They keep slaves in Vesic. They don't give people their dignity.
From the sounds of it, they keep slaves of you as well.
This sort of strikes a nerve. Like one side of his large gold mustache just twitches there. We are kept slaves by no sorcerers. We live our own lives here, and we keep to ourselves so long as we can. He seems visibly frustrated at this point.
My people see strength in action. If you are not capable, then you become capable. If you are not strong, you become strong.
Yes. Tell me of your people. How did they become strong?
We are isolated in the mountains. We are acclimated to those mountains. We survive where none else can. Every fight, every day, our struggle makes us strong.
It's the same here in Quain. Constantly battered by storms, by waves, by tides, our people have grown weathered. They've grown tough. They can resist where others further inland cannot. You do make a compelling point.
The Goliath are independent. We are not vassals of some grand magic state.
We are not. Here in Quain, we stand with the Sovereign, the one who has the true superiority and rights to lead, through sheer force of ability, of innate power and majesty. Only she really can command us properly. Why should some sorcerers down in the desert?
Out of game.
Well,
sorry to ruin the vibe. The sovereign has been mentioned before, but I'm not super clear on it.
So you would be aware at this point that all of Abenlock and Relgar, this kind of riverlands to the west of the Dormer Range, owe fealty to the Sovereign, who is always an elvish female that supposedly has passed down from generation to generation from Brigid, who is one of the Tuatha De Danann. Way back in the past, like about 4,000 years ago.
And
so
does Vesic have like a similar position or influence person?
Go ahead and roll a history check.
Okay, sure. That's not going to be great, but yeah, that's a 5.
You're not really sure what Vesic's deal
Just
is.
dialect
They're like
noises.
on the opposite end of Anor from your people growing up, so you're not really sure what they're about, but other than what you've learned so far from talking with Larian and Saphira. You would have been close enough to Abenlock and have spent enough time in this area to know a little bit about their governmental system, which is very monarchistic. They have a bloodline regent who all of the Urim Knights are also related to. So ostensibly each family of Urim Knights is one of the children of a sovereign who didn't end up becoming the next sovereign.
Okay.
Right? Or they're descended from a child of the sovereign.
Okay, interesting.
All right. So continuing. Well, and that's why I'm asking for all of your help in going to the Claw Garden and aiding my father in claiming this Fathom Pearl. Keeping this from Vesic's clutches would be one more piece in our arsenal to potentially change this balance of power in Anor. I don't like what Vesic represents. I don't like what they force upon Anor. Their way of life is despicable. They have no honor, they have no integrity, and they do not respect the agency of their people. And he kind of looks around. Frankly, I think that there would be some truly glorious songs sung about the ones that could bring Vesic down. So,
I look around really confused because I'm not sure why that's like a big deal. Like, oh,
That's-
good. Okay.
that's
Loud.
you can see that there are a couple of servants and whatnot who kind of stopped and looked over as he says this, but they kind of hustle along as he makes eye contact with them.
It is not our place to solve your problems for you.
No, you've already done enough. You are adventurers, after all.
Doing so would be an insult. If you wish to be capable, strong, I believe you can do so.
We are capable and strong. And that is particularly why I've left it such a difficult position here. I wish to make a change in this Cala. I wish for the Rosewells to become more powerful so that we can begin to influence the decisions that the Sovereign makes. The songs sung about our family have a direct influence on the actions of Relgar and Abenlock as a whole. And that is why I believe that the first step is wresting power from Vesic, even if it isn't so much the Fathom Pearl itself, so much as the symbol of what it represents, that we cannot be stopped, and that Vesic does not own the magic of this Cala.
And yet you are unable.
As I said, Vesic is also strong.
I will discuss these things with my party. I don't know what you would call it in game.
Companions.
Companions. I will present a path.
I would appreciate that. You seem to understand strength, and you understand the drive that it takes to keep a civilization together. The fact that it requires strong bodies and stout minds to maintain order and to continue a thriving society.
But you must understand, if we do capture the Fathom Pearl, it will be with our strength.
Of course. That is all I'm asking for.
Very well. And I'll, where did they all go?
Library, I think. Down that hall to the right.
Oh, thank you. And thank you.
Of course.
Awkwardly walk away.
Okay, over in the library, you all get there as this conversation is going on. So is there anything in particular, Kaz, I know you were going there specifically for something.
Yeah, as we're walking, is there like a servant or a guide, or is it just us?
There are a number of servants kind of moving about. They look to be either on tasks, bearing plates or brooms, cleaning supplies. A couple of them are walking past with hammers. One even has a ladder over their shoulder that they're kind of like clearly got their head down, kind of, oh geez, here we go. Look like they're onto something not so fun. But yeah, there are a few servants around here and there.
I guess we'll just make our way to the library then. I just kind of, once there's a moment where I feel like there's nobody else around it but us, like our group, I just kind of want to take a quick moment and just get an idea of what they're thinking. But I don't want to bring it up if there's servants or other people around.
It's not like they're clustering the halls. They're going past periodically. You can see them moving about in the distance. In the library itself is much quieter. Looks to be, there isn't a specific librarian in here. It's as you enter this room, it isn't a tall library. It comes up to, it seems to occupy both of the bottom and upper floors. And it reaches a peak at the very top with these large beams coming across it. There is a second story going up that kind of traverses around, but all in all, the room itself is probably only about 30, 40 feet across. It's fairly small, but loaded down with old, cultured-looking volumes, leather-bound, many of which look to be very old, and a couple that even you recognize as very rare as well. Though it's a fairly modest collection compared to what you've seen before from your past. Probably a little bit more than what the rest of you have seen, though.
Looking for anything in particular?
We're looking for a lot of things. The first thing I was looking for was a moment for us to chat.
Yeah.
The complete history of Abner. No, thank you.
I might take a look at this, actually.
Here you go.
All right, thank you.
Well, an autographed copy of this team.
I feel like the more we talk to this gentleman, the more discordance I feel.
Yeah.
I don't know who I trust in this moment other than, well, us.
Yeah, so I also trust self-interest a lot more than I trust dreams of glory.
Exactly.
So when I took a small aside, I spoke to the sister, Saphira. She seems like a much more sensible person. And we had a quick chat about what she thought about all that. I don't know if any of y'all noticed it, but I saw that she was not particularly pleased with her brother's opinions or plans or the way he was expressing them.
I might have been a little preoccupied, but I can see that. She
Sure.
definitely seemed different from him in a lot of different ways.
So we chatted a little bit, and we made an appointment to chat more later because I think that there might be more I can learn. Also, possibly build a meat table with 8 legs. But the most important thing is
Oh my god!
most important
Man.
thing.
Did not see that. Sorry, go on.
Episode title? I don't know.
I don't know if we want to go that way.
Most important thing is that she doesn't think that the conflict that is occurring down in the Claw Garden is good for either side or for the locals, which was kind of the vibe that we were getting, I think.
And that's one of the things I wanted to research is I don't truly believe he doesn't have a lot of information on the natives.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
hoping maybe these tomes talk about them.
Right. I think that in Larry's case, it's less about not having the information and more about having certain ideas that prevent him from evaluating the information as best he could.
Exactly.
Whereas Sister is a lot more sensible. For one thing, she knew the name of the tribe, which Larry did not seem to.
What was the name of said tribe?
I will tell you in approximately 30 seconds.
Content
The
here.
Runda.
Oh, no.
No. That's Vesic.
Nope, yep, that's correct.
Portantier.
Thank you. What she said.
Portantier?
Portantier. Yeah, I hate his stupid face. I think he's dumb and mean, and I think that he doesn't really. He's talking about how, oh, look at all of my poor people. They're having troubles with all the weather and everything so hard, and these people who know nothing keep living there, surviving throughout all the typhoons, and they're fine. Or I don't know, maybe they know something. Maybe they're smarter than the stupid people who weren't even invited over there.
Right, exactly.
He seemed to be kind of disparaging against people from tribes, and I may have wandered away from mine, but I'm still from one.
Right.
Like, the cow goes moo.
So
It does.
that was great. So the idea that I kind of pitched to Saphira, which I forget if I've alluded to this thought, was if somebody or some group of somebodies were to sneak in and grab the pearl out from under everybody's nose, the fighting would stop, a lot less people would die, the natives would be left alone. Downside is Plowmother gets the short end of that stick, but the way I see it, she's getting the short end of the stick no matter what happens.
Sneaky.
I do understand this.
Or for that.
This is a bit of intrepidation on you.
It's real mean.
I know.
Why can't we just leave that claw mother alone?
Well, apparently the pearl is inside her, so the situation doesn't go away until she's dead. Or until she kills everyone.
That's kind of what I'm starting to understand.
Right. And just like with the manticore, if it's gonna happen, I'd rather it be quick and painless.
Well, I have to noodle on that.
Yeah, and that makes sense.
I wouldn't mind if we're heading out that way. I wouldn't mind talking to the Portantier and seeing what they're.
I think that's a good idea.
Well, that could be sticky, because they worship the Sand Mother. So we can talk to them, we just wouldn't be able to talk freely.
Maybe they know. Sorry.
No, go right ahead.
Maybe they know a way of getting the Fathom Pearl without hurting the Sand Mother. They might know more.
Actually.
And they might know a way of getting Vesic and Abenlock to just, or Queen to just go away.
Yeah.
Well, from my understanding, if the pearl is no longer an option, I think both parties would lose interest quite quickly.
Yeah, that's what Saphira was saying.
And
Incidentally, about this time, nobody enters the chat.
Okay.
Nobody enters the library. You see all of the rest of the party kind of gathered around in deep discussion.
Finally. I'm not used to all these walls.
I just quietly hand over the picture book.
It's
Oh,
you said it's about 3, Jesse?
well, that's relaxing.
About 3 o'clock?
for the
In game? Well, you guys started lunch or breakfast around I think 11, so you're probably pushing 2, a little after 2, so
Okay.
3. Yeah, so you've got probably a half hour.
Okay.
Okay.
I agree wholeheartedly that we should talk to the natives. Maybe there is a way that. But I think the thing we need to be careful of is exchanging information.
Right.
I think we have a lot of parties involved in this, and we need to control what we tell people.
Right.
We definitely shouldn't deal out all the cards and tell everybody everything about ourselves.
We are discussing plans.
Yes, I'm glad you're here, nobody. I really wish I knew where our last party member was, but they seem to kind of make their own plans. But I hope they're okay.
Have you checked the tops of all of the bookcases?
Oh,
You know I haven't, to be honest.
Can I look around for the ferret?
Perception check.
And I will guidance.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, no. 10.
You find a ferret now. You find no ferrets, unfortunately.
Everything, stop biting.
I think it's important that we come up with a plan that fits
Quick,
all
out
aspects.
of game. Is Edlin on his? It's their way back.
Edwin was watching the thing and let the lady go far away, and will eventually make their way back to the castle to see if their friends are still there.
Okay.
Okay.
Probably about the time, about 2:30, 2:45.
Okay, so coming up here soon, you'll be getting back.
Edwin gave the lady half an hour, so they didn't look like they were together.
Right.
It helps me know like
Makes sense.
where we're at in time frame of things.
What do you think, Desmond?
Well, I think that obviously a lot of people are after this Fathom Pearl, as you discovered. But I think we've got, like Kes said, a lot of research to look into and figure out a little bit more about where we want to go with things.
It is slightly concerning the fact that the reward is so vast that for taking out this creature, it almost leads me to believe that taking it out isn't as easy as we're led to believe.
Should be fun though.
Oh,
It would not be worthwhile if it were easy.
Very true.
I can always agree with that.
I believe I have impressed upon Larian the concept of ownership and deeds.
I think he knows a lot about owning stuff.
In the sense that if we are to secure the Fathom Pearl, that it would be ours.
Well, so thing is, I think that if he, maybe, I don't know the guy that well. I'm worried that he might think that if we're getting the pearl, that we intend to turn it over to him.
I have expressed opinions to the contrary.
He pretty thick though, and not in a good way.
I was gonna ask for some clarification.
Yeah, CK. That's the one
Yes.
that's like that. Yeah.
Yes, he was blind to the servitude of his nation to Vesic. At least, until I reminded him what strength is.
All right,
Sounds encouraging for the most part.
sure. Well, we'll just hope that he won't let leak to the rest of Avonlock if that's what we actually end up doing.
I believe he plans to become strong.
Well, I can tell you what, he's actually pretty buff. That handshake, boy. Here's a good one.
My fear is if we actually held on to the pearl, we put a target on our backs. I'm not really one to give it away, essentially, especially to people I'm not sure about.
Right.
But I also don't want to put our lives in danger needlessly.
And I think the best way to do that is to get rid of it as fast as possible in the most profitable way that we can.
You mean to turn it over to Vesic?
No, absolutely not. 100% no. That's it. Nope.
Cassie,
Hard no, bud.
would I be aware of anybody along this coastline, besides the parties that we're aware of, that I could essentially offload the pearl quickly?
Roll a history check.
Do I get any kind of bonuses or advantages? Because I am not proficient in this way. You know why I
Are you
ask.
speaking from that particular context?
Yeah.
Roll with proficiency.
Oh, Jesus. Natural 20.
Flippin',
So 24 total.
flippin' eck.
I just had to ask, just because, yeah.
Yeah, you know somebody. Give me a second here.
Pregnant someone.
If that's the case, I might know somebody.
So what are you talking about?
You have a contact in Relgar. He lives kind of up the coast a little bit. He's not in the. He's not all the way. Sorry, 1 second here. Pulling up my map.
Why did you have to freaking say that?
So you have a guy, you know somebody for what?
Well, if we
In
were...
Selnor.
Selnor?
Selnor.
The name is Selnor?
The name is Selnor. Of the town is Selnor. The name itself is Terravor.
So the town is called Selnor. The guy's name is Terravor.
If we were to get our hands on this and we want to offload it quite quickly for a profit, I know a guy.
So that's one idea. You know how to make shit. You think you could figure out how to turn a pearl into something magical that could help us?
I can make a degreaser with it. That's about it.
Oh,
He did say that.
so maybe we sell it. Maybe we sell it.
And from what I know, we might make a decent goal. I will say, if we go this route, we need to do so very carefully.
Sure.
I get your bravado, and I don't mean to quell it. But this...
I don't like how this sentence started.
We need to do things a certain way, if you understand me.
Oh, because we're going to be dealing with certain elements.
We're going to be dealing with things I don't like, and that we don't need to be making public.
Sure. So, full disclosure, I'm all about that. I count it as one of my points of pride that I get people, and I know how to act in certain situations. Now, if a situation doesn't call for a specialized mode of behavior, I've got my default, but I was always really good at sucking up to the right folks and at not making waves when I was in a place where it was best not to make them. So you don't gotta worry about me on that account.
You might have to worry about me.
If we do this, it'll be one of those things where maybe not all of us go when we go discuss this with this individual.
Sure.
And those who go kind of have to abide by some certain rules. I don't mean to force you on to things you're not comfortable with, but this is a very delicate situation. And
Sure.
I would ask for a help for me, essentially.
My experience with waves is limited and unpleasant.
Oh, incidentally, nobody make a insight check real quick here.
I'm actually quite curious, though, too.
Quite good. Go ahead.
Oh, well, you got your roll. Go ahead. Tell him the roll.
Bonk. 19.
All right, so you, just to clarify any like miscommunication, you got the impression that Larian was still intending for you to go help Abedlock go get the pearl, right? So it wasn't so much Larian was like, yeah, go down and snake it.
I just phrased it in a way so that I could rationalize not doing that.
Perfect. Just want to make sure I'm not giving you wrong
And
information
then
by
it would
accident.
be his fault
So,
in my head.
Perfect. Okay, good. That's
Thank you for the clarification.
okay.
So, I think it's best we gather as much information as we can.
Sure.
If it's an option we go with, it's an option we go with. But I would like to have a better understanding of not only the natives, but possibly their information on the creature as a whole. Hopefully this library possesses that. And it sounds like you have some carpentry work ahead of you, building tables of some sort.
Yeah, I like that. I'm putting that one down in my book.
Oh boy, a little carpentry work,
Would you prefer we
little woodworking.
stay in the area until you're...
Whoa, I don't know.
I'm not
how long
saying I want to join you on this expedition.
I just don't want you. I don't know how long I'm going to be. So take your time. When I'm done, I will check the library first. I think this is all y'all's best method of finding information. And I have another way of loosening tongues.
And
One
with,
way you're putting it.
and with that,
Can I
you're
do-
about at. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm about out of time.
You're about at that time.
All right, hold on. Ugh, all right, good. I'm gonna just check that I don't have any like smears of dirt anywhere or anything like that?
Do you need, I can, and I kind of like prestidigitate and kind of clean you up.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Pint size, how's my breath?
Terrible.
Oh shit. It was all the everything that I ate. Okay, and I'll pull a brush out, not like a traditional toothbrush, but like an old medieval style toothbrush where it was basically like 2 fingers and you kind of getting in there. And then I'll be like, Source, can you check my hair? Is it good?
Yeah, you're looking good. And I was just kind of like, okay, good. All right.
All right, and then I will take the eagle's feather. And I'll say, darling, oh, make me the pretty orc girl I know I am inside. And the scars that you can see on my arms sort of shift around and almost integrate with the tattoo pattern so that they look like they were designed, the tattoos look like they were designed around the scars that I already got. My tusks that protrude become perfectly symmetrical and very white. And my eyes go from their normal red to like literally looking like rubies. And this sort of faint silvery black aura surrounds my body, and all of a sudden all of my armor is spotless as I cast Enhance Ability.
Hey. Nice.
Eagle's Splendor.
There it is. Okay.
How do I look?
I thought I was the pretty one.
Really shiny.
All right. Whew, I got this. And I will walk out of the library.
Okay, sounds good. Penny.
Desmond, I was just curious. I don't know. I know you're probably gonna read some books and whatnot, but when we get back to the inn, I was wondering if you could look at this and hand over the staff from last session. I really, it's really nice, but I'm not really crazy about the fact that they put pearls in it. I want to find out if that's like necessary for it being as special as it is, or if it's something that we could take out to reuse for like a practical purpose.
Well, actually, don't know a whole lot about this staff in particular. I've never seen one quite like it. It's definitely a unique piece, but I can take a look if you like.
All right.
So I think she was. What do you want me to see if I can do what?
Take out the pearls without it taking away the +1.
Go ahead and make an Arcana check.
Desmond, would you like some assistance with that?
Take a peek here. I think maybe this one's got some interesting characteristics. Might help.
Definitely. I'll give him
All right.
assistance.
Get the help action, so at advantage.
Oh gosh, where's this? It's coming. Okay, 22 on that one, and 12.
All right.
22.
22, yeah, well done. It will be kind of a tricky process. It looks like part of the staff's magic is actually via like a kind of like a balance between these pearls, a simultaneous magneto-magical, there's a freaking word I'm coming up with on the spot, tension between the two pearls that's giving it a lot of its abilities. You think that you could theoretically swap the pearls out with other gemstones if you were to acquire a couple of flawless, spherical, at least of ruby quality gemstones. So looking to be probably around in the 300 or 400 gold piece range per stone. But you could theoretically swap them out. You'd need to have something to immediately kind of regain that tension between the two poles.
Indiana Jones swamp.
Yeah, basically.
So we need an emerald or ruby.
Magneto-magical. Wow, that's the most... anyway, it's the most ass-bully DM term I've come up with yet. All right, nice.
So you were talking about going and making somebody talk. What? Who are you going to see?
Saphira,
Right, Sphera.
the sister. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I mean, we were talking about Evan walking the Urim Knights. I was kind of wondering if anybody here is a descendant like the Rosewoods.
Descendant, no, but I grew up in Avonlock.
Okay.
Little familiar.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if, well, I don't know. I think Avonlock is probably got some good ideas, and if you guys feel comfortable with taking a Fathom Pearl there, it might be okay.
We can talk about that. I gotta make my appointment. But I'd sooner see it with Avonlock than Vesic. I'd rather see it neither way. Or maybe we could see it. If it went to Avonlock, I wouldn't want Vesic to know that we did it. I don't want to make any more enemies there than I already have, and I have quite a few.
I think it should stay with the tribe.
Yeah.
It's theirs, kind of.
Well, that makes sense, I suppose, but yeah. I think that's a noble pursuit, leaving it with the tribe.
I think
If
so.
if they can lay claim to it.
I mean, we have to meet them first.
Right.
My only fear of giving it to the natives is that instead of putting the target on this sand mother,
Right.
it puts it on the natives themselves.
Correct.
Only if other people know that get it.
Yeah. Well, let's go talk to them first and see how things shake out.
But when we talk to them, we need to make sure we don't give too much information to them.
Of course.
If they know that we're there with the intent of understanding the pearl, I'm afraid they might look at us as enemies. And
We gotta play everything real nice.
And is my character aware of the relationship between the tribes and the Sand Mother? Or is there any like obvious?
Based on what you've gathered so far, well, you've only really talked with Larian, so you get the impression, I'm going to say most likely from your background, you wouldn't know anything about the Portentier.
Okay.
However, the context you've gotten is that the Portentier are some kind of cult that worships the Sand Mother. And that's about like the best sense you can get.
Okay.
And the Sand Mother has the pearl inside it. So they probably don't want anybody to get the pearl, including themselves.
Right. Your plan is to take the pearl and hand it to the tribe?
That's not the plan that I would recommend. No, it is.
Is that not what I just heard?
That is what she said. It is up for discussion. It is not what I recommended.
we have a few avenues we can travel. I think at this point it's gathering information and figuring out what's best for us as a group and us and everybody as a whole.
But at this point, I really do gotta go.
Yeah.
So I said I would leave, but now I,
Good luck on your table legs.
I do not believe it would be wise to kill the thing that they worship and hand them the powerful artifact inside.
Right. That's why I wanted to look around these tomes and see what I can find.
Yeah.
And I don't want to subtract from it too much, but ultimately I just want to do research on the native, like the Portentier, see if they know anything about it, the Sand Mother as a whole. I'm just researching that kind of stuff.
Okay, so looking up stuff on the Portentier, the Sand Mother. Okay. Sarah, so you doing any particular research at this point?
I'll be doing my part to help look for titles, but I won't be like reading them necessarily. I'll just be using my height to get at some of the top shelves.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so you're assisting Kaz then?
Yep.
Okay, Penny?
I'll be reaching the ones on the bottom shelf.
Oh, okay, you're assisting Sarah.
That's what we call teamwork.
If
I
I
you-
like.
only have one help action, but go ahead.
Would you want to maybe research the Sand Mother? See maybe if there's a way we can obtain it without hurting her.
All right. I mean, I thought we'd just talk to her, but I'll see if there's a book.
Talk to the Sand Mother?
Why not?
You can do that.
I can.
That's
I think.
That's quite impressive.
I mean, unless the Sand Mother is like something it's a metaphor and actually I don't know, a tree.
Well, maybe you can do some research on her and we can give a better understanding. I can do a research on the natives.
Okay, so Portentier and the Sand Mother, perfect. And then Desmond, is there anything you want to be researching in the library here?
Well, the history of Avonlock. I was going to check that out.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good. And then nobody.
I think he had Alex's cat book.
Yeah, he handed me a picture book, right?
That is true.
Yeah, study it real hard.
Study that book real hard. Okay, we will go ahead and get back to what you guys find out after a short break. So we'll be back in 15 minutes, y'all. Stay tuned.
Nice.
And welcome back to the stream, everybody. We are rolling back in with the continuation on our library episode today. So, I will say, around this time, Edlin, you re-enter the Rosewell Manor, and you get some direction as to where your allies are in the library.
Okay.
If
I
you're-
shall head to the library.
Okay, sounds good. You make your way in
Do I pass
Elf.
Helry as I'm going in?
So as you're going in, yeah, you kind of would, honestly. You're both, you're coming in about the same time as Hellry's kind of heading out, straightening up the breastplates and whatnot.
The lady is sharp.
Very, very.
Don't cut yourself.
Beautiful. All right, and you head on into the library.
And I head on into the library.
You see the rest of your companions already beginning to browse the tomes there. Nobody's currently holding open a book on cats with great intensity and focus. The rest of them are kind of...
Yes.
I'm going to wander over to the group and say, well, I found some interesting things out this afternoon.
Oh,
Do tell.
from whom?
The sister.
Sapphira?
Sephora.
Yes.
Close, but continue.
We had a nice long talk out on the cliffs, and it seems that these natives, so-called, the dissidents and dregs, they rely on the Scuttlekin for their well-being and their life. And if we kill this great mother to get the Fathom Pearl, I think we do them out of their livelihood. So, I think I also found out that it's rather expensive to keep a campaign going down in the Cloud Garden, and if we were to ally with the natives and help them destroy the supply trains of both parties, the armies would depart.
I don't think that would be a great idea for us, because then we would piss off two larger nations.
If they know it was us. But if they just blame the natives,
Then if
the natives are no worse off than they were because they were already attacking the natives. Also, we protect the natives' way of life, and we are not responsible for wiping out a tribe of people.
I'm all for not killing the natives. I'm all for them not having their livelihoods disturbed. But I'm also really not about them being wiped off. As much as disrupting the trade routes would possibly disrupt the other two factions, I'm also fearful that it might entice them to increase their physical attack on them.
If their supply trains are wiped out, they won't be able to stay long enough to increase their attack. The other thing is, if you can get at the Fathom Pearl without killing the Great Mother, the natives might actually be on our side, because that would take away everyone who's trying to kill and attack their livelihood.
Right, and that's what we're researching on right now.
Right. So I just thought I'd let you know that. I'm not okay with anything that's going to wipe out the natives, though.
Yeah, they do simplify things, honestly.
Well, if we can save lives, obviously that's the best choice. So I think that the only real non-violent option would be to talk with the Queen.
Well, then, just kind of lead into this. What have you found on the Queen so far?
I found.
Well, so actually, this would be more Desmond's area. So Desmond was researching Avonlock, so go ahead and roll an investigation check.
Poor.
I think they're talking about the Scuttle.
8.
Are you talking about
Oh, are you talking about the Sand Mother or the actual
the
Queen?
Sand Mother.
Oh, right. In that case, yes, that would be Penny's area.
Since we're all kind of doing research.
Oh, they were talking
on
about the
this
Sovereign,
thing,
which, anyway.
Since we're all kind of doing like
She was a
group,
crab the whole
like
time.
research on this, is that with advantage or is that like
Not everybody. So
Okay.
you'll be at advantage.
because
Saurus
I'm not
assisting
going to pick
you.
out some titles. It's all good.
7.
7. Okay. Unfortunate. Well, so you find a little info on the Scuttlekin, mostly descriptions of them as large crab-like creatures. Go ahead.
I was just wondering if potentially, with my background and being very attuned to nature, if it would actually be more of like animal handling or survival instead of investigation.
This is talking about looking through a library.
Well, maybe what I can read between the lines. Okay, fine.
This
I was
still,
trying.
you're looking for a specific type of book. This isn't your.
Okay.
This is one of the first times you've ever even been in a library. So
I will attempt to flip through the pages on their books and look for like the biggest picture.
okay.
Nice.
That seems to make sense.
Is this for like a help action on somebody?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you doing it for Penny or for
For,
Desmond?
for Penny.
For Penny. Okay. Penny, go ahead and roll at advantage.
find a picture
No,
of a
wait.
giant crab.
Wouldn't be on that page. There's too many words.
It went up to an 8. So 7 to an 8. We're getting better.
Still is mostly just information on anatomy of them. So you find descriptions of Scuttlekin as these very large crab-like crustaceans that are, according to the books you're reading right now, they're all aggressive, they're all territorial, hostile creatures that can that take up to 2 or 3 soldiers apiece to take down.
There it
And-
says attack the weak point for massive damage.
Thank you. Thank you.
There it is, folks. The memes have occurred. So unfortunately, you don't find any information on the Scuttlekin other than the Sand Mother, other than very vague references of the Sand Mother as being at the heart of the swarm.
Okay.
Look for the part where it says this kills the crab.
I don't want to kill the crab.
What if we have to defend ourselves?
Well,
May I also look for a book or title on the Sand Mother using my investigation check and my eye for detail?
Sure. Okay. Edlin is also looking for Sand Mother information.
And that would be a 17.
Okay. And with that, between Penny and Edlin, you do manage to track down, because Penny, you managed to find the area where all this information is kept, and you're like, this book isn't working. This is book. Edlin, you go over and you kind of scan around as well, and you find one, particularly a slim red book that you pull out. This one is sort of a travel diary of an explorer that spent some time down in the Claw Garden. They recount tales of these vast crustaceans that they've seen kind of patrolling around. Not overly aggressive, surprisingly, though when he did approach with his party, they were attacked within a certain range of what looked to be the crustacean's main hive. The Scuttlekin mostly patrol around gathering up detritus that's blown in from off the sea. So dead fish, dead whales, other creatures that have washed up, this Scuttlekin kind of go around gathering them up and bringing them back into the hive to be consumed as communally. And at the center of the Scuttlekin nest that he was able to see, there are vast piles of coin, treasures, blown in garbage and filth. So you have valuables and filth all basically mingled together at the heart of these places. And all of this is compounded right on top and creates sort of a nest upon which the Sand Mother lives. Sand Mother is not really a crab, much more of this long, elongated. He describes it as a lobster from hell. And I know it's not the dice lobster yet, but it is a very large, stretched out creature with huge claws and a sort of a frill of colorful filaments going down its back, sort of in this long, almost, we'd call it a mohawk. They probably have a different word for it, but anywho. And from what the explorer was able to gather, the Sand Mother gives birth to the Scuttlekin, laying large clutches of eggs at any given time that then hatch and are cared for by the actual Scuttlekin workers around.
Okay. Kind of like a beehive mentality.
Yep, very much the hive mentality.
She sounds beautiful.
It does leave me a little concerned that you may have some difficulty getting close enough to chat with her. We might have to maybe talk to the sentries on the outskirts too. I don't know how talking with crabs work. I'm not sure how well it'll go, but I'm willing to give it a try.
It's all in the hands.
Castanets.
Oh God, you're gonna have
I will
Italian
have full
accents.
faith in you. Just,
I will bring castanets.
They're snip-snap doggos, not the wolf-pork ones.
Kaz is so like out of his element on this. Talking to crabs is not his forte. It puts him in a crabby mood. So.
Oh! Ouch!
Yeah.
Ouch!
I think you just need to come out of your shell.
Oh, that's very well put. Thank you.
Well, you know why they call it a crappy mood?
Oh, why is that?
That's because they're quite.
Shellfish.
No, they're just irritable, you know.
Oh,
Yeah, it's, I don't know. It sounds like y'all are in a little bit of a pinch.
Well, when it comes to the natives, I found. I'm guessing I'm rolling.
Okay, roll investigation at
Wait,
advantage.
and was this one advantage? For
Yeah.
the
Here,
tall
show them
one?
up here for you, I think.
Oh, gee, I have to reroll because it's a leaner, but that sucks because it's a 14.
That's fine. It's a 2.
I found shit. That's gonna be a 5.
Total at advantage?
I rolled
man.
a 3. The leader was a 14, so I rerolled it to a 1.
My favorite thing about you, Lucas, is the dice tray you refuse to use.
That's where I put my dice. That's what I said.
What's the point?
Where else are my dice gonna? Oh, I see what you're saying.
You're being punished for your hubris, sir.
My hubris.
All right.
I have
Even if I do that, though, it works out to be an 18, and that doesn't make sense.
No, okay.
Yeah, that's true. So you,
I've grabbed you nothing but picture books.
so as you're kind of like, as you're just getting started, Saurus is already coming over. Here you go. And you're just,
I'm having difficulty finding stuff. He keeps bringing me books on meat.
It's mostly adventure stories of knights. It's of knights who've traveled down into the Claw Garden and had to do battle with these monstrous shellfish. And well, they're not really shellfish. They're anyway, arthropods, whatever. But the
And at least it's somewhat related.
doing battle with these monstrous crustaceans and equal parts with those as well as the savages from out of the monsoons, where the storms would come in. Just on their tails would be these savage bands of natives who are coming in and attacking the party and trying to drive them from the lands.
I gotta be honest. I kind of got wrapped up in reading about the tales. That's my fault. But I appreciate the books. Those are some
Pretty. I'll admit, I kind of want to be in one of these one day.
They're cool artwork on them.
Yeah.
You
as well as I.
You do actually get a sense for, I will say for this, you do get a sense for some of the environment you're going to be in, which is largely sandy with palm trees that are constantly kind of bent over with their leaves being lashed in the ever-present winds. There's constant storm clouds up overhead, though it doesn't seem to be real storms, more like high winds and just constant weather systems overhead. And the ground here is, though covered in sand, also covered with about a couple inches of water at most every picture you've seen so far.
And in the tomes that I was reading, did they describe any difficulty in traveling through the watery sand areas?
Oh yeah.
Very difficult terrain to travel.
It is considered not necessarily difficult terrain, as it's only a couple inches, but it is very uncomfortable, and there are accounts of people getting like foot rot and issues with what would be the hypohidrosis or hyperhidrosis. Sorry, hyperhidrosis would be the correct one.
But yeah.
Tons, like basically just way too much seawater involved getting in their shoes and being unable to dry off at any point.
I will definitely keep prestidigitation ready to prevent this.
Good to know.
Trench foot.
Yeah, exactly, pretty much. Well, I haven't found too much on them. It doesn't look like they really look at them as a organized civilian group, so they don't, unfortunately, pay much mind to it, at least in what I found. Hopefully we can find other information, but I don't know what else we can gather in this library. I'm going to continue to do some research. Hopefully I come across something. I'm definitely going to wait for Hellray in the time being, just in case.
Desmond, go ahead and roll your investigation check for looking for Avonlock stuff specifically, because I messed up what I was asking you for in the first place. So go ahead and roll it
I don't need
again.
to use the dice tray.
Yay!
One more.
One more. Man,
Hey!
I did mention this wasn't a particularly large library, so
Yeah, I imagine it's not really like
Jesus.
account from like an educational standpoint.
That's a...
How we fight?
you seem to notice a lot of books are missing too. So you're not really sure where they might have gone, but we'll get to that anyway. So sorry, what'd you roll total?
9.
Hey,
9.
that's the best one.
You're able to get a basic account of Avonlock's history from the purported origins with Brigid founding the city for the purpose of taking care of the common folk here, who, of course, worshipped Brigid as a savior. On the borders of both Relgar and Crandar being this vast forest on the western slopes of the Dorma Range, being able to hunt was essential. And Brigid, being ostensibly a goddess of the hunt to an extent, as well as a goddess of agriculture, she was a very significant figure in making sure the people were able to survive in the early days following the last great destruction of the Fomorians moving through. Since then, she did have a child. That child was named... What? Sir.
Aha! We found it.
It's all coming together?
A daughter named Gila, who became the stand-in ruler after Brigid departed into the seeds, into lands unknown. Gila was considered retroactively as the first sovereign, though was not given that title until sometime later, when about 600 or 700 years had passed and they were looking for the next stage of their governance, and she had a daughter. Gila was known to have a few children throughout her years, but her daughter, who was named Relwyn. Her daughter Relwyn was quite amorous, especially for an elf, who, generally speaking, aren't overly involved in, getting around too much. But for Relwyn's purposes, she seemed to enjoy frisky nights and active evenings. So she actually had quite a few children, and this created a bit of a problem in that the royal bloodline could only leave one heir to being the sovereign, and she had, over her 800 or 900 year reign, at least 30. So they had to find a use for the other members of Brigid's bloodline. To say that they were just commoners was a disservice and devalued the position of sovereign. And so the Urim Order was founded, which is the order of knights that currently presides over much of Relgar.
Looking at you, Gary. What?
So, over kind of reading through the very basic history books you're able to track down, it seems that the succession of sovereigns from generation to generation of elves has only passed about 5 generations thus far. But in that time, many, many, many Urim Knights were created, who each have also created their own family lineages that have been passed along. So it has become sort of a tradition that the sovereign does not take a partner and partners up with whoever might be worthy, like a great warrior, a great scholar, or a person who is very influential in the world in creating a better society for Avonlock. And then she'll have a child with that person, and that child will become an Urim Knight, who then will pass along those good characteristics to their leadership principles. Anyway, yeah, that's what you're able to find so far, and that's very basic to Avonlock's governmental system. All right, so panning the camera over to Helry, who has found directions to Saphira's quarters.
First thing when I walk out, I'm like, all right, I gotta test this.
I will find the first servant or helper that I can. And walk up to them and say,
hello.
Hello. So Lady Saphira asked for a private word in her chambers. Would you be willing to direct me to them?
I don't know. Lady Saphira is a very important persuasion check.
17.
As they're starting to protest a little bit, you seem trustworthy. You're one of the heroes, right? The ones that killed the guardians of the. Absolutely.
That's right. Thank you, darling. I appreciate that.
Expecting you. Okay.
A little twinkle in your eye.
You're something about you. I don't know. Those ruby pupils.
The dimples.
You are guided through the manor. You're expecting to go upstairs. However, instead you're taken past the Great Hall and around through a set of corridors that takes you past the servants' quarters and past the kitchens. It takes you down a long, narrow hall where suddenly there's a door at the end, which the servant knocks on carefully. You're enter from within. And the servant opens the door and ushers you in. Helry Gelnaga here to see you, mistress? Absolutely. Thank you very much, then.
Thank you, darling.
Of course. And he kind of turns and heads on out, shutting the door behind it. Inside, you can see a very stoutly built room. It's large, though not ostentatious. There looks to be about 2 sort of portions of the room, almost like a suite. Towards one side is a magnificent desk. It looks to be the most richly emblazoned, decorated item in this whole room. Very sleek, dark wood comprising it, these kinds of ornate carvings coming up the legs of it, and piled high, though orderly, with papers, books, and reports. A lot of books on this desk. You also see there's a sort of a large table area where there's already a couple of bottles of wine set out and 2 goblets, and towards one side, towards the back near a window, is the very stoutly built timber-framed bed, though again not really like a 4-poster princess bed or anything, just a very functional, well-crafted piece of furniture.
Sturdy.
Plenty of wardrobes around as well. Sturdy, yeah.
That is important.
And a chandelier hanging from overhead that has several candles in it that are gently burning in a wrought iron frame.
Nice.
Saphira is over at her desk looking through a series of papers, and as you enter, she takes one more look and turns towards you. Thank you for meeting me here. I understand discretion is important for those in your line of work.
Of course, of course. I noticed you laid out some wine, but before we get into that, would you like a splash of bourbon? I found this bourbon called Farbank, and it's the best thing I've had since I came to Avonlock.
Farbank is good, certainly. I'll have a little bit of that, though. Just a splash, please.
Of course.
I'll take the goblets and I will pour modest proportions for both of us. Hand it over to her.
Okay, it's quite good.
My favorite. So,
She motions for you to take a seat, by the way, and she sort of sits down opposite.
thank you very much. So, one thing you said caught my attention. You said that you thought that there were things that I was not telling you. What sort of things do you mean? I mean, I didn't tell you my life story, but I get the feeling you don't expect most people to walk up and drop that sort of info.
I was under the impression from what you were telling me that you have more familiarity in some of the strange events that have been taking place lately.
What events? If I can answer, I will.
You, in particular, the situation down in the Claw Garden. You spoke as if you'd heard of this before, but this is a situation which we have tried to keep as quiet as possible at the moment.
Yeah.
As it naturally would spread some concern among our population.
Of course.
Should, obviously, my father be successful in his campaign, then we will spread word far and wide of our successes over Vesic, but until that point, we are not speaking of it. And so how do you know?
Well, as I indicated last time, we had the intention of going to the Claw Garden already. What I didn't mention then was that we were sent. We work for a couple of individuals, powerful folks who... See, I was about to tell you what their aims and intentions were. Thing is, I don't know if I can trust them when they say what their aims and intentions are. A couple of fellas who say that they want to save Anor, and that they want to foster a community of heroes capable of such a feat. They thought that the experience would be good for us, and they're the ones who told us about it. They're the ones who sent us down here. If it's any comfort to you, we have been very tight-lipped about where we're going and what we're doing. You smart cookie would have noticed in the dining hall that we did not say anything about that mission to your brother and indicated that his request was an imposition that we would take into consideration, but were not very happy to go on such a quest. That's how we've been treating anybody who asks where we're going and what we're doing. So, I don't think you have much to fear about strangers learning about that journey from us.
And who are these people that have sent you on this journey?
Well, there are a couple of folks, a man named Antiarna, who I can't figure out for the life of me other than I know that he's an egotistical prick. And a fellow named Frednick Summerwald. He appears to work for Antiarna. He's a friendly guy, but he's got more secrets than just about anybody I've ever met. And I don't trust either one of them fully. Well, I am still willing to entertain their suggestions for the time being. That sort of a thing where you know somebody's probably up to no good, but they're offering good money and you need good money, so you take the job. It's kind of life I've always lived. Didn't see any reason to change it up when the offer was so good.
And is that why you decided to pursue the Claw Garden?
That is why we were heading down there. We thought, head down, get a lay of the land, see the situation, and if anything else comes up along the way, maybe we do that instead.
And what do you think this Tiarna stands to gain from intervening in the events between Vesic and Abendlock?
Well, see, the way he put it to us was that if we threw our lot in with either Abendlock or Vesic, we would gain power and influence with that side. Me personally, I'm not as invested. I've lived in both places. They're both fine for what they are. And it's not that I don't want to make friends in Avenlock or Vesic, I just don't want to make enemies in either place either. So what we discussed before, where if there was a way that the situation could be diffused, as few people as possible could be hurt, and we could stand to gain something, that's the best of all possible worlds in my mind. What do you think about all that?
Well, as I had mentioned to you before, I think that my brother's notion that a band of adventurers should intervene on behalf of my father is foolish.
I'm glad you said it.
Not because I do not want the Fathom Pearl for Quain. As my brother did put it, it would mean a great deal for the protection of our people. But to push the balance in that way could precipitate war, conflict, a trial of arms between Vesic and Abenlock, and I, above all else, do not wish to see that. Larian is very enthusiastic in what he may be able to accomplish against the mages. I am not so. It would be a brutal conflict, and I don't know who would win, and I don't like doing things when I don't know what the outcome will be.
I could not agree more.
So, my goal would be to gain the Fathom Pearl without either party being reinforced. Let my father stand off with Vesic's emissary and have the pearl disappear. Or, through some chain of events, make it impossible to continue the campaign for either Vesic or Abenlock. We cannot allow Vesic to take the pearl, but neither can we allow both Abenlock and Vesic to go to war.
Correct. So my question that I've been ruminating on since last we talked is, one, is there a way to get the pearl without destroying the creature that holds it? Do you know?
And why do you care?
Well, from everything that your brother was saying, but more so from what you told me, seems like if that happens, the people who live there kind of up shit creek without a paddle. I'd rather not do that if I can avoid it.
To be perfectly honest, there's an entire Cala of resources, and they've chosen to put themselves into one of the most hostile environments imaginable. Their dependence on the Scuttlekin is entirely up to their choice to live there. However, even were that not the case, there are more than the single hive of Scuttlekin in the Claw Garden. This is simply one of the largest.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
And so their way of life will continue for the most part. There may be some conflicts and territorial disputes between the Port and Tyr, but that is theirs to resolve.
Sure.
More important, to my mind, is ensuring again that the cities themselves do not come to blows.
Sure. All right. That's something I can get on board with. Well, what else do you want to know?
I want to know why you are going along with this. If you have such reservations about Tiarna and about this Frednik Summerwald, why are you agreeing to go along with what they have put forth for you, the direction they've given you? What would you rather be doing?
Well, the answer to that is very simple. I love a good fight. That's what I've been looking for and pursuing since I was 13, first left home. And currently, they're the people pointing me to the best fights I can think of. I had a real good time down in Vesic in the fighting pits. You familiar?
Oh, yes.
That's how I came up. And then one day it was time to do something more important. And something more important led me to this. And so, any chance to get my blood flowing, get my axe wet, that's what I'm looking for.
Let me offer you some advice. For someone who wishes to not intervene and not become a centerpiece in affairs, you seem quite willing to throw yourself into the middle of them. And you're going to have a choice to make. Either you behave like my brother. You make yourselves apparent. You forge a legend for yourself. You let the minstrel sing of your deeds. Or you take a subtler approach. She takes a look up and down at your gleaming armor, hazy aura, bright ruby eyes. The subtler approach may require a little change of branding. But you may find you have more influence that way, if that is what you seek. And take it from me, there's no shortage of fights in that route either.
I believe it.
So, my question to you is, what do you really want to do? Because you cannot stand... Because so long as you choose to put yourself into the center of events, you cannot sit upon this fence. You will have to choose one way or another. And personally, from my perspective, I very much like to know what powers are at play in this land. And for the ones who've killed the Elder Octopi, I very much like to know where they are going.
Sure. Well, ever since I was in Vesic, my life has been one of duality, of finding that balance. It's true, I do ride the fence, but I'm not afraid to jump on whichever side is best at the time. There are certain deeds that I like to be sung, that I like to be big, flashy, loud. There are certain things where I like to be a lot more subtle. You saw how I was just as good at charming your brother as I was at pulling you aside for a private conversation. Both paths have some validity. I'm very, very good at being loud and being strong and being flashy. But if you like,
I'll finish the bourbon.
I don't mind showing you how subtle I can be either.
And persuasion check.
All right. Yeah. Natural 19 for a 22.
At this, she kind of cocks an eyebrow, looks you up and down. I tell you what, I have a proposition for you. You show me how subtle you can be. Bring me the Fathom Pearl without either party being involved. Find a way in which neither Vesic nor Abinlock will intervene as you steal the pearl right out from under both of their noses, and you bring it to me. And I will grant you any one request you have.
I think I'm amenable to that.
Along with, of course, the promises my brother has made.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, I believe I've taken up enough of your time. You're a very busy woman. It's been my pleasure.
As it has been mine. She throws back the rest of the whiskey there. Is there anything else you would like to ask of me?
That was all I had.
All right. Well then. I will see you when you next return to Quain.
I will see you soon.
All right. Okay, you head on back out, return to the library. Everyone back in the library, anything during this interim time you'd like to take a crack at?
Mostly, I want to try and now understand the queen. Now that I kind of get a rough idea of what Miss Penny's shooting for, I want to see if it's even a physical possibility to obtain the pearl without the creature dying.
Roll another investigation check.
Am I still getting? Yeah, am I still getting
Sure.
help from Cyrus?
Yep.
And stuff? See, even when I use the trades, it's pretty good. Investigation. That's going to be a 17.
Ooh, 17.
Use your trade, Garrett.
It takes you a while, but eventually you do manage to find a kind of physiological breakdown of the Sand Mother. The Fathom Pearl is an essential organ within the Sand Mother. It is something, it processes an aspect of herself that actually manages to convert salinated, like salt water, into not only fresh, water for her body to use, but also into magical power that she uses to create the Scuttlekin and to influence weather events around herself.
Oh, man.
So,
But,
Boy.
okay, I have a question on that.
Good to know.
So there's only one Sand Mother down there.
From what I'm gathering,
There are multiple Sand Mothers, but only the oldest Sand Mothers have Fathom Pearls that are considered worthy of harvesting.
gotcha.
Okay, perfect.
So, from my investigation work, yes, there are multiple ones down there. This one in particular is the only one that has the Fathom Pearl that all these factions vying for.
But why? Because it's the oldest?
I imagine these sort of things take time to develop and grow. Just like a pearl inside an oyster or a clam takes time to grow into itself.
So does that mean if we take away the temptation, if you will, in a couple years it's just gonna come back because another one will be older?
Then would I gather how long it takes for maturity? Like
If you guess-
decades or...
What you can gather is that it usually takes at least 50 years for a Sand Mother to achieve maturity necessary for another Fathom Pearl to grow.
It could take 10 years, it could take 50 years, depending on how old the other ones are. And I understand your intrepidation of this, and I don't really want to kill needlessly anyway as well. One perspective I look at it, though, is maybe by taking out the older one, the other colonies have a chance to grow as well. To diversify the genetic lines to allow those in the area to prosper. Like I said, I really don't want to kill needlessly as well, but if we can maybe help everything as a whole, maybe we can do some good in this world, and honestly, this world could use some good. I just don't think it's something that it can just regurgitate out for us to
Yeah.
trade peaceably.
Yeah, absolutely. I just don't know how I feel about
I understand.
playing a part in natural selection because that takes away the natural part of it.
I understand that. And I don't want to force you to kill needlessly anyhow.
Probably won't be making many friends with the Portentier, but maybe we don't need to be friends with them, because if we get Visick and Queen off their backs,
Maybe that'll help them in the long run.
that could help them in the long run. They don't have to be grateful to us or say thanks or anything like that, but if it helps them out, even if it sucks for them,
In any case, I think the first thing we should do is at least observe the area.
yeah.
I don't think we can gain more out of this library than we already have, especially from their standpoint of things. They're more brash and more meat-headedness, essentially. I'd like to get a more neutral perspective.
Yeah, I would like to talk to the Portentier about it, because I don't want to speak on their behalf, not knowing how they feel about it, because
Do your people have gods?
the Tuatha follow the same.
How would you feel if someone killed one of them?
Depends on the god, I guess.
Duty god.
But I get what you mean.
Edlin, is there anything you're looking up in the library during this period of time?
I'm just helping people find books
Okay.
because everybody seems to already be researching everything I would want to do.
Okay. Desmond, anything you'd like to look up?
I'll take a look for a book on the Portentier.
The Portentier? Okay.
Portentier.
Go ahead and roll, we'll say at advantage since Edlin's helping out.
Hopefully you find more than I did.
Oh yeah, you have it.
Yeah, but that was not great.
It's
It's an 18.
Oh,
Oh, it's not cocked.
yeah, dropping it, setting on the 18s. So
But you had
investigation? Yeah, advantage, but 24 for that and 25.
Whoa! Okay, that'll do it.
About time.
So you managed to find a heck of a good volume on the Portentier. This one is actually tucked away. It was kind of behind a stack of books, and you yanked them out, and you saw, pulled it out, and it is another travel treatise. However, this one is less of an adventure story and much more of a kind of sociological study on them. A scholar traveled to the Claw Garden and spent the better part of a year with the Portentier, traveling with them throughout the monsoon lands and learning about their way of life. They wear these very long woven boots that are created out of scuttlekin cartilage that are waterproof, and so they do not suffer from the same kinds of rot foot maladies that visitors to that land do. They are not an overly hostile people. From time to time, they actually move as adjuncts to scuttlekin hives. Where one scuttlekin hive attacks another scuttlekin, the Portentier will actually aid them in attacking that scuttlekin hive and also attack the Portentier tribes that are adjuncts to that hive. It's not considered something that is hostile. It's considered something where one beats the other. And generally speaking, if the sand mother of one hive is killed, then the scuttlekin of that hive will join the other tribe, the victorious hive.
Seems we got the setting on that camera.
Ah, yes.
One moment, please, everybody.
That makes me feel a little better.
Desmond, does it say, are there multiple tribes for the Portentier?
Well, it says that there's at least different sections, and then they group up and I don't really know. It's still not a lot to read, I think.
That could be kind of complicated because we tried to talk to the Portentier. What if we talk to the wrong faction? We say like, hey, we want to take down the Scuttlekin. Is that okay? And they're like, yeah, go after it. It's possible.
Well, I mean, I doubt it with the way they treat the thing, according to what we found.
This book is a couple of decades old, and the tribe in question they were following is one known as the Wet Wind Call, which is a Portentier tribe that follows the largest of the Scuttlekin groups. This hive has been around for nearly a century at this point, and its sand mother is very old and very powerful. The Wet Wind Call is very well established, and they don't generally face a lot of other conflicts. Usually other tribes are fighting betwixt themselves, depending on where this actual other hives are going.
Okay.
The usual governmental system of them is that you are here to protect the hive, and you take Scuttlekin workers periodically as needed. So it's considered a symbiotic relationship where every so often, when they need more food or when they need a new shelter to carry with them, they will kill another Scuttlekin, like just one of the workers, and call their numbers and take that Scuttlekin for resources. One of the important things is they never kill the sand mothers. No matter what the situation, the actual Portentier will not kill the sand mothers of another hive. It has to be a Scuttlekin that does it. So it is a sort of honor-based philosophical system where they consider themselves kind of part of a hive, right?
That takes away the idea of getting them to help us.
Oh, I'm not there.
So,
Some of them to help us.
usually it's a very shamanistic society, mostly druids, couple of like ranger types, but you're not able to get a really clear sense of exactly what the different tribes are called or what the power dynamics are between them, but you do get a sense for their philosophy and how they tend to, what their value system is.
And you said they generally, when they do that, they don't kill the Sand Mother? Like it's
They don't personally kill the Sand Mother.
Oh, okay.
They will attack the other workers and soldiers of another hive, but they won't actually kill the Sand Mother personally. That is left up to the actual hive workers or soldiers to do.
So like, yeah, if two Scuttlekin hives are like going at it, then one of the Scuttlekin can kill one of the Sand Mothers from the other, but the Portentiers don't do it themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe-
The Portentier will make an opportunity for them though, or the Portentier will prioritize attacking other Portentier associated with a different hive.
so maybe they could clear the path, and that way instead of fighting everybody, we just have to fight the Sand Mother.
Incidentally, when one of the Sand Mothers is killed, again, all the Scuttlekin join the victorious hive. All the Portentier from that group also join the Portentier tribe from that group.
That's
So at least the society wouldn't falter. We would just be.
Well, that takes away my main objection.
I know it's not exactly what you're looking for, but
It's a little better at least. Still noodling, but
of course,
yeah.
you don't have to make decisions now. I think maybe
I think we need to go down there and, we don't know what we don't know.
I'm not sure how long it takes to make a meat table,
Indeed.
but as soon as Hillary is back, we should start making our way there. I feel like.
We have learned much, but I am still confused. How do they breathe underwater?
That is a very good question. I have not come across that yet. I think possibly gills or little crabby thingies. I don't know what they're called.
If we wish to wage war upon these Portentier, it will be difficult without breathing.
Well, they're in the desert. They're not in the water.
The
Claw Garden.
Oh, I see.
It's like a sandy swamp.
It's just really,
Yeah, like a
really
sandy swamp.
wet, but it's
There's a-
still above ground.
There's a couple inches of water, like above all the sand.
It's that one
Sorry.
scene from Mad Max where they're in that
Yes,
bog.
yes, very much like that,
Cool.
except with palm trees and typhoons.
I've never seen a crab before. It's just sort of confusing.
It's like your companion, but hard.
Boy,
Okie
what a
doke.
phrase! What video title? Anyway,
Writing it down. Thank you.
perfect. At this point, Helry rejoins the group, marching back into the library.
On my way back,
Okay.
any house servants, workers, whatnot?
Sure.
Small,
you see
cute,
a few.
soft.
Wait.
Small, cute, soft.
Small.
Not crabby. Not like the crabs.
Unfortunately, no.
Not so much? Okay,
Yes,
that's
yeah.
fine. Make my way back to the library.
Mostly elderly, a lot of very weathered kinds of, in their productive years, folks.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Along came Beatty.
Oh, you're...
I'll have you know, it was good odds. If I rolled above a 5, it would have been, there would have been somebody.
Sometimes you
Rolled a
just
4.
can't find what you're looking for.
So,
Ain't that the truth?
Hey, everybody. How we doing in here?
That didn't take long.
Not too bad. You're back kind of early.
Yep. Did not go as long as I wanted. But I left with some good news, a little bit of bad news, and a puddle on the chair I was sitting on. So what I found out is that down in the Claw Garden,
Yes.
It's not even the things you say.
the
It's the way you
situation
breeze right past it like you didn't say it.
is that a few different things. One, I learned that there's actually kind of a lot of these hives, and so the natives that live down there, if anything were to happen to the hive, we wouldn't be wiping them out, which I don't think any of us would have been on board.
No.
So that's one good thing.
But I believe Desmond found that out.
Actually, Desmond found this journal and
Good. Well, then it's confirmed from multiple sources. The other thing is Saphira seems to think that if we did end up with the pearl in Avonlock hands, that would almost certainly lead to a war with Vesic, which is also not something that I want to have happen.
That is a very true statement. I don't agree with the war anyhow.
So that's something we should stick into our thinking caps. What else have y'all found?
Well, we found out a little bit about the crab queens, the sand mothers. The pearl's essentially an organ. It's not really something that can be achieved without death.
Well, shit.
We have found, like you did, that they are colonistic and there are multiple ones down there. And, that, unfortunately, for that to become the maturity for the Fathom Pearl, it takes about 50 years.
Well, yeah, okay.
So,
Interesting point of fact, though. Oftentimes there's scuffles between the tribes and the Scuttlekin and all that. And if one vanquishes, like say one of the Scuttlekin, takes out the Sand Mother from another one, the other one, they just lost their Sand Mother, they join up with that. And that goes for the Portentier, follow with them too.
Really?
Yeah, so they all just kind of conglomerate. So they have been known to fight amongst themselves, end up with the loss of a Sand Mother, and just become a bigger unit afterwards.
Well, that's our end.
exactly.
Well,
That's what we do.
the question is, if we kill the Sand Mother, are they going to follow us?
Well, no. We ain't.
Because we're not another Sand Mother, and there's not another Sand Mother fighting. So what tribe would welcome them in?
What do you mean? No. We get another tribe, or multiple other tribes, to go after the tribe with the pearl, and we grab the pearl after all the fuss has died down, and we get the hell out of there.
I think that's probably our best odds. We were talking about just heading down there and getting some more information and meeting some tribes.
Sure, that's a great idea. And another thing too, this is just another option once we got the pearl. If we get our hands on it, and if we can get it back here to Saphira without either side knowing that we've done it, she has promised us any favor that she can deliver on, which she intended to mean what I was talking about before, because she thought that's what I wanted, and she was correct. But we could also, not bad to have a noble in your back pocket.
But wouldn't giving her the Fathom Pearl cause the war?
She would not.
She'd keep it hush-hush.
It would be hush-hush. She would be able to gain the benefits without everything Larry was talking about with the singing and the spreading the word and everything like that, because she's subtle-like.
Do you feel like she's honest?
Best I could gather, and again, I am always more trusting of self-interest than ideals.
That's true.
And what are her goals?
I'm not sure about honesty, but she's definitely smarter than her brother.
That's certainly true.
That's a good.
Her goals are to protect her people, keep them safe, stop as much killing as she can. And I like that.
It sounds good to me too.
And she likes to do it without making a fanfare.
Well, I don't know that yet, but... Oh, you mean yeah, okay, no, sure, fine, yeah.
She doesn't brag about what she does.
Right, yes. Which again, to each their own. So anyway, I think course of action's pretty clear. Head down, meet some folks, start a revolution.
You say you are good with people.
I'm alright. There's some who are better. Kaz is a charming shit, tell you
And
that
you
much.
are sure of her intent.
I'm as sure as I can be, yeah.
I still think you're the prettier one now, but anyhow.
Oh, thank you.
Very symmetrical tusks.
So symmetrical.
Well,
All right.
What part or parts of her, perhaps, did you trust the most?
I Okay, you said trust. Like I said, self-interest. As far as I can tell, she cares about her home, but what I am rock solid certain of is that she cares about her position, her ability to keep living the life and doing the things she does. I don't think she'd let anything threaten that.
I mean, as long as no war comes of it, I don't see the reason why not to give it to her.
This plan that she proposed presents some risk.
Sure.
I think selling it would be better off, more advantageous for us than keeping it out of the hands of both factions.
Do you think that risk is being shifted in her favor?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, that's the whole point, ain't it? The current situation is scary as hell for her. If war happens between Avonlock and Vesic, Quain's fucked. Minor house out on the outlands, that's not good for them at all. She's looking to offload some of the risk to us, which I'm all right with.
I mean, to be fair, we were definitely thinking about doing this anyway. And
Right?
I don't think it's any more or less risky. We just have better understanding of it. Hey, books are good for something.
Hell yeah.
And you're quite the good reader, Cyrus.
Thank you.
In that sense, for what purpose do we turn over the pearl?
Well, if we don't turn over the pearl and we try to sell it, we go into risky territory, maybe get some money. We turn it over to her, we could just say, hey, you know what I want? Want some fucking cash. Or we could turn it into a favor for something else.
Or we could sell it somewhere else. I'm sure there are plenty of people who'd be interested in such a thing.
Sure, absolutely. That's just one more option, though.
To be fair, I feel like that option, there are people. It's not, there's just other limitations to it.
Yeah. So that's what I got.
This whole thing feels very, what's the word? Clandestiny?
Yeah, it sure does.
Edlin?
I'm going to write something in my book that I told you I was going to write earlier.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. Oh, I have so much homework to do this week. It's gonna be great. So,
You're welcome.
have we sort of come to a conclusion?
We done with the book learning?
I'm done with being inside.
Yeah, I want to get back on the road again. I miss the rain on my skin.
Me too. I need some
Go
outside
back
there.
to the inn, gather up our things, and depart.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
I'm all for that.
I can read any books I want on the way.
By all means.
Perfect.
It is getting a little later in the afternoon. Do we
It's like at about 4:30.
yeah. Do we want to spend one more night, or we want to light out of here?
I don't mind getting out of here.
Yeah.
We don't have to go super far, but you know, at least get a head start on it.
I agree.
A little late's better than never.
We should start getting going.
Okay. All right. Not just like one more night in town with a bed and a
I would
door.
prefer to stretch my legs.
Sure. Yeah. No, you're all correct. Yes. Good.
Would you prefer a bed tonight, Hillary?
Are there any servants in the
No, I'm
library?
fine. I'm fine.
Are there any servants in the library with us?
There are, like, periodically one or two will come through. You can now see kind of why it's so disorganized in here. They are coming in with these big armloads of books and just kind of like, and just putting them up at various points. Looks like books seem to go in and out a lot. From what you're able to see, they probably go to one person in particular pretty frequently.
Yep.
But there are a flow of servants moving in and out periodically.
Okay. So just considering the two folios, we found the travelogue and the other travelogue might be useful on down the road. So I'm just trying to think whether or not I want to try and purloin them. But I think not.
Okay, sounds good. So you start to make your way out of the library?
Head to the inn, grab our shit, get out of Dodge.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Okay.
We're in Quain.
Right. Sorry.
Oh, Dodge is somewhere in the dorm range.
Yeah, that's right.
You can see as you depart, you can see Larian talking heatedly with Laura. She's kind of plunking out a few chords. Dun dun dun. No. More like a dun 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 dun. Yes, exactly. A little bit more like that. How about the word radiant? No. Magnificent. Magnificent. No, that's silly. Anyway, what's a better word for that? And she kind of like whispers. You can't quite hear. And as you all reemerge out from the side hall, he turns toward you. I hope you found what you were looking for. Welcome back.
Yeah, I think we got all the info we needed. Like your picture books, by the way. You got a lot of good ones in there.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Some fantastic illustrations. So, did you give some more thought to my offer?
We thought about it a little bit more, but I think we need a good night's rest before we make any real decisions.
Oh, I see. Consider your next night at the inn paid for. We'll take care of that for you, and if you want to come back in the morning and discuss further, then I'll be right here.
Well, that's generous. I think it's only fair to say we're leaning away from the idea. We did some reading and it just seems a little not really our speed so much. We're not opposed to it. We just need to think about it a little bit more. So that's where we're at, kind of.
Well, time is of the essence, but I understand that is disappointing. However, you've again done a great service for our town, and we'll be happy to have you again in the future. Especially if you're interested, we always have situations that need dealing with around Quain, and I could certainly use another party with skills such as yours to patrol the Mistlands. So, you'll always be welcome in Quain.
Wonderful, thank you, and your hospitality has just been the best.
It really is. Honestly, delicious bread.
Of course, please tell everyone about it. I do want folks to feel welcome to visit.
Absolutely.
Fantastic place, good people, good food.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a pleasure.
I'll give him a handshake.
Can all hear bones crunching.
Thank you, sir. It was an honor to meet you as well.
Absolutely. And on your way down south, please do give my regards to, do stop at Letty's Rest. The Bracken Bowl is a fantastic inn, and Mora is a very intriguing character. So please, by all means, stop in there and get yourselves a bite to eat on the way.
All right, we certainly will do.
Thank you.
All right. Bring back stories.
Always.
They tend to follow us around, don't they?
Okay, anything else before heading out?
Rather things and
Didn't somebody say they wanted to spend the night?
I said that I wanted to, but
Anything before heading out of the manor or town?
Either or.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's probably going to be, if you're heading on the road again, we're not going to spend a lot of time role-playing the inn or whatever.
Sure. Just picking up the stuff at the end, just quick scan of the room. Anybody small, cute, soft?
On the way.
Oh no.
it ain't gonna take long, I'll say that.
Yes, in the inn, there is a drow lad who looks to be, fresh-faced, just in off of a fishing boat, sleeves rolled up to the shoulders, revealing, not jacked, but definitely trim, and short braids kind of pulled in close to the scalp down at the back of his head there. He's kind of laughing heartily with some of his compatriots.
I imagine enhance abilities worn off by this point?
Probably. How long does it last for?
An hour.
An hour? Yeah, I'd say at this point probably about that.
While he's not looking, quick rub on the earring, cast guidance, walk over, lean.
Hey!
And then we can fast forward through the whole thing if you want. Or we can do the whole thing.
He looks up at you and says, "Hey." And fast forward.
Yeah. Oh, I don't even need to roll for it. Okay.
Go ahead and roll for it.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
This will be
All right. 17? Ooh. Sailor. I mean, that's got to count for something.
He's into the thighs. Come
Yeah.
on now.
Who isn't?
You know what? That's them is some net hauling arms you got there.
He is into the thighs.
It's true.
So, and that's
Or he
that's
will
me.
be.
You
While
remember?
they're busy,
Canoodling.
we could have a quick meeting in the bottom of the inn about leaving.
Oh, I'll get his name.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Really, it's great. I love it.
Even better.
All right. Yeah. His name is definitely Gorbra. No. All right.
Yes.
Adamar.
Adamar, 10-4.
Yes, nobody. You wanted to speak?
The entire inn is shaking. You're like,
Not so. I'm not super aggressive about it.
oh, okay, never mind. The inn is not shaking. Neat. All right.
I'm going to wander down to the docks real quick and see if our captain friend's boat is still tied up.
Okay, sounds good. You start heading that way. For those of you still in the inn, nobody had something to.
This path that we are on, it winds. I am left aimless. Tell me what you decide.
As in general, or?
It's almost a haiku.
The general idea. What are we doing?
I think the idea is we go down, find a group on Portontier, and maybe enlist them to help us kill this Sand Mother and get the Fathom Girl. What we do with that after that point, we may have a bit more discussion on, but I don't think it's much of a discussion if we don't have the pearl in the first place.
We pit the tribes of the Portontier against each other.
Or maybe just see if they themselves want to attack them in the first place and we just mostly assist. Does that not sit well with you, nobody?
Out of character, no, that sounds insane. In character, to prove their strength, it could be done. Something clings to me.
Keto?
Also, yes.
Two things.
He kind of flickers purple, black, and pink.
It just feels wrong.
Pitting them against each other? Or?
What is your goal?
Mine? I would like to do good as a whole. I can honestly say I haven't done really a lot with my life that's been worth much. I'd like to know I made a difference. Hopefully in a good way.
Likewise. But what we have seen, do you believe it?
If this giant watery creature really is coming, there's not a whole lot I can do to stop it now. I mean, hell, I couldn't even take on the little water dudes.
Then you wish to make the most of what time you have?
Yes.
Cowardly. Unfortunate. And you?
Me?
Any of you?
I want what's best for the tribes. I want people to be able to live their life and not be at war. I don't really know what we're going to find when we go down to the Claw Garden, if we go down there. I think going and seeing it and assessing the situation makes more sense, as far as if there's a way to have all the tribes live harmoniously, as well as if there's a way for that Fathom Pearl to leave, to make sure that the cities aren't attacking them, so everyone has the best chance. But I still don't really like the idea of pitting people against each other for the sake of our own gains. That doesn't seem kind.
And this one, lost in the trees, but still at least awake. You, do you believe what you saw that Tiarna showed us?
I believe well enough. I've spent a lot of time scrapping and fighting. I've learned to believe what I see and what I can touch, what's right in front of me. I believe what I saw was in some way real or going to be real. Situation right ahead of us, I don't know. It's weird. I have to admit, when I started up with Tiarna, I was just thinking gold and glory, chance to wipe the slate clean and make a name for myself, maybe. But this situation's a little more complicated than I would have liked it to be, and I want to do good. I want to get the potential of a warring faction out of that whole area, and I don't know what the best way of doing that is.
Why? Why do you wish the warring faction to leave?
I don't feel like it's right, with people pressing in and admittedly fighting over resources that aren't theirs.
These resources belong to those who conquer, those who have the strength to take them.
So you're saying we just go in for it?
That depends on our goal. What use do we have for a magical pearl if we do not possess the skill to make use of it? What purpose do we serve other than those who beg us to solve their problems for them? That is not our purpose. There is a calamity.
I'd like to think in some way here we're choosing our own path. We've been told by multiple people about this situation, but what we're choosing to do, I feel like we're doing it in our own way. I think that's a pretty good test of strength. If we're successful, we made our own choices and did it our own way. Not because someone asked us to or told us to, but because we wanted to do it and we did.
Is that a little Sinatra in there?
I did it my way.
I was going to say Sid Vicious, but yeah.
Fair enough.
And you, friend, proud warrior.
Which one?
You.
Oh, you? Well, I guess I learned how to use the crossbow a little better, but I don't know. I mean, you guys have some interests. I like you guys better than most other people I've met. So I guess, I'll tag along at least.
You're not nearly discussing it with most of my friends.
It's quite encouraging to hear. I'm happy to hear that, actually.
There is not much that threatens the Kulvar. Not much that can reach us in the mountains. But some things do. What Antiarna has told us, what he has shown us, it strikes me. A feeling I've only known once. I do not believe that any one nation, any one people have the strength to defeat it. I do not believe that we alone have the strength to defeat it. And I wonder if being the delivery crew, being the gophers for some 2-bit duke is the path.
Well, the way I'm seeing it right now, if Vesic and Quain start fighting, it's going to be all that much harder to get them to face the right direction. They're going to be looking at each other and not at the Fomorians. If they're not fighting at each other, it'll be easier to talk to them, tell them to look in the right directions, to look to the horizons. That's my take on it at any rate.
With the right balance between them, their animosity can be channeled into strength. And at the right time, that strength can be redirected.
I agree.
Their quarrels, their scraps, could result in greater strength for both nations. But without balance, the advantage is lost.
We're going to go ahead and pan the camera over to Edlin, who is on his way down to the docks. Doesn't take you long before...
Their way.
Sorry, their way down to the docks. Thank you for the correction. Edlin is on their way down to the docks, and you can see that Cadius' ship is still moored up there.
Okay, I'm going to approach the gangplank, and if there's someone on deck, I'm going to ask permission to come on board.
All right, you can see one of the crew members is still up there. They look like they are mostly unloaded at this point. There are wagons nearby where crates have been hauled out of the ship and placed aboard. And
Is Cadius on the dock or on the ship? Or do I know?
Cadius, you don't see Cadius right now. You'd imagine he's on the ship.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
The crew member sees you. Oh yes, come on over. Come on up.
Oh, yeah, I'll go. Is Cadius about?
Yeah, he's down that way. Points towards the captain's quarters. Yeah, I'd give him a knock first. He's a little bit busy at the moment.
Should I interrupt or not?
I mean, Sue, he's just talking to one of the crew.
Oh.
We're trying to get the ship all secured for the interim until we're back from Vesic, where we're going to be selling our supplies and products and whatnot.
Okay. Have I seen any maps of the area? Because Vesic is apparently on the other side of the Claw Garden from where we're at.
Yes, so Vesic is on the Savoynes Highway, so the most likely route from Quain is ostensibly to go from Quain and take the goods over to the Lake Eloir, which is on the border with Bara. And so supplies are dropped off into a shipping location where they're taken across the lake, dropped off at Bara, where they're put onto the Savoynes Highway, and they make their way to Vesic.
So he's not going to be sailing to Vesic.
Vesic.
No. He's going to be going overland to Vesic to sell his goods.
Okay. Well, I will go knock on his door.
Okay. Yeah, 1 second. You hear some mumbling from within. And then the door opens up and you can see a crew member looking out. Yeah, what is it?
I was hoping to speak to Cadius for a moment.
He's, Oh, hey, let him in. It's Edlin, right?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Board, you head on out. I'll take it from here. All right. The large human individual makes his way out, and you make your way in. How you doing?
Oh, very good. I understand you're taking a caravan towards Vesic.
Well, yeah, that's where you generally can sell off your supplies and whatnot.
Would you be traveling near the Claw Garden at any point?
Definitely not trying to. We're gonna make our way down to,
I'm just trying to
obviously...
figure out if they're going to be anywhere near it.
Yeah, no, we're gonna be, we're gonna be kind of going along that way. Between Bora and Sarai it's just about borders the Claw Garden. Not a very fun stretch of road, but not as bad as it is actually in the Claw Garden itself.
Well, my friends and I are sort of headed in that direction. Would you be interested in hiring some guards, maybe?
I mean, you more improving yourselves, I'll be down to hire. Plus we're down a few men, so sure. We're going to be traveling between the Claw Garden and the Mist Coil, so it's going to be a bit dangerous at points. So if you think you can handle yourselves, there's definitely some coin in it for you.
I thought that might be the case. How soon were you planning on leaving?
Probably 2 days from now. Once we got everything situated, we can make our way across the Mistlands to Lake Eloia.
Well, thank you very much. I will be back with you with word from my compatriots soon.
All right. Well, yeah, I need to know ASAP.
Oh.
We're doing preparations right now, so otherwise we're going to hire someone else.
Today, before this evening.
All right. Yeah, sounds good to me.
And I will make my way back to the inn and see if anyone else is interested in a job on our way to the job.
So as you're entering the inn, Helry is coming out of the room, kind of stretching probably.
We're ready.
Well, friends, I did have a suggestion. It seems Cadius is getting ready to take a caravan. You remember Cadius, our ship handling friend?
Sure.
Is taking a caravan through the Mistlands past the Claw Garden, and he is a little short-handed at the moment due to circumstances, and would be more than willing to hire us as guards for his caravan, at least as far as the Claw Garden.
Wow,
If we are interested.
When's he leave?
2 days.
Oh man, kind of wanted to get out of Dodge, out of Kuwait.
But if we were hired by him, we'd have to be staying with the goods, so that would be either on his ship or on the dock, and we would not have to deal with these people anymore anyway. They would assume we'd already left.
Oh, it ain't that. I just don't like the idea of just sitting here for a couple of days.
Surely there's something else to do.
Well, I just thought we might as well be making money while we're traveling,
That makes sense.
All right.
and that way everyone won't wonder where we're going. Obviously, we're guarding the caravan, so that's why we aren't working for him.
A good point.
What if we take a couple of days of odd jobs with Larry, and then hook up as caravan guards for Cadius?
Yes.
But I hate him.
That is a good point.
Which one, Larry or Cadius?
Larry. Caddy is a gem.
Hi.
Hey, but this way, we're parting him from some of his precious coins.
That's true.
I don't want to be in his songs though.
And as much of a dick he is, and he does seem to want to help his folks, so...
Yeah, he's probably got something for us we can do while we're here. I'd be okay with that. Make a little coin, sit by, and head out in a couple of days, make a little coin on our way to go check out the Claw Garden.
So we are crashing here overnight.
I guess so.
Well, it's going to be a little more awkward than it would have been. That's all right.
So I should tell Cadius we're definitely interested.
What do you guys think? You've been kind of quiet.
I am willing.
What about you, Desmond?
Well, I think a few days. I mean, we could use supplies anyway, so.
Okay.
Kaz?
Good with whatever.
All right. Cool. Well, it's unanimous then.
Yes, I would not mind eating more of Larian's food.
That is actually a good point. Huh. All right. Who wants to go tell him? Not it.
Fourth lunch. What is this?
Not it.
I'll go tell Valerian.
Okay.
I make my way.
I'm sorry, I'm busy talking to Cadius.
Yeah.
Anyone want to go with me there?
I'm ready for a nap.
I need to do some shopping.
I'll walk with you.
I will accompany you.
What are you free to go see?
All right. So, Edlund and Penny are heading. No, Edlund and Saris. Jeez, sorry. Edlund and Saris and nobody are all heading down to the ship there to meet with Cadius.
Yes.
In the meantime, Kaz is heading to the manor to meet with Larry. Anybody else going with? Nope, just Kaz. Okay, and everybody else is going shopping.
I got this.
It's fine. It's very diplomatic.
There's no ocean.
All right.
Larian,
Yeah.
bold of you to show up alone. Arrest that man. Kaz, why?
Oh no.
So after a very intense day of negotiations, soul searching, figuring out goals, and setting new objectives for the coming days and perhaps weeks, you all leave with a certain sense of trepidation, but also a certain sense of direction. And that is where we're going to pick it up next time, everybody. So,
Alright.
yeah, give some thought to it in the meantime, and decide really, there's a few directions at this point. And got some choices to make. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. Y'all are awesome. And tune in next week, 1 p.m. to figure out the next exciting leg of this journey. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, follow us on Twitch, and hit like on YouTube or subscribe on YouTube as well, please.
Vote!
And vote! Get your voice out there. We gotta make democracy, okay? It's important. So, and on Friday, make sure to check out our podcast if you are interested, if you missed any of the previous episodes and you want something to chill out and listen to on your commute to work or when you're hanging out, doing laundry. Or check us out on YouTube as well. We'll be uploading on Thursday so that you can check in on anything you may have missed from today's session. So, one more big thank you, everybody. Wear those masks, vote, and we'll see you next week.
Hell yeah.
Hey,